Hey friends, it's your boy SVH coming at you with today's bowl of Saki by Hazrat Inayat for September 19th. The teacher, however great, can never give his knowledge to the pupil. The pupil must create his own knowledge. The teacher, however great, can never give his knowledge to the pupil. The pupil must create his own knowledge. So, you know, this is really true when it comes to the spiritual path, and it comes to the idea of finding a spiritual teacher or guide or being guided by someone. It's a process. It's not an immediate transfer of all the information and knowledge from the teacher to the student. It's a gradual process, and it's something that the teacher offers in a way for the student to let it unfold within them in the right time and in the right moment. So there's a lot to be said for this. So in our tradition of Sufism, our Sufi tradition, we have an initiatic path. You take initiation with your teacher, which basically you're confirming that you want to study further, you want to go deeper on this path, you want to understand the inner workings of the spiritual path, and in doing so, you make a commitment to taking the guidance of that guide and allowing them to steer you along in the path the best that they can. And again, when I say steer you, it's not saying that that you're in the back seat and they're in the driver's seat driving for you. You're driving, but they're kind of like sitting there with the map saying, you know what, I've been here before, and this might not be the way to go. You might want to try this route. And it's really just kind of a steering, a light nudging back on the path. So when you get off a little bit, you kind of a little nudge back over to head the right direction. And so that's truly what it is. And the teacher is always feeding the student, especially when you are linked through initiation. The teacher sends out a thought, and the student a lot of times receives that thought, maybe not clearly exactly the way that it was sent out by the teacher, but you have a feeling, or you have a sense that somebody's sending me some juice right now, and that's really what it is. Also, the reason that we have Sufi circles, the reason that we sit, isn't necessarily to just sit and read the teachings or to sit and study a particular teaching, but it's really to be in the presence of the teacher, to be in the environment and in the space and in the vibration and the frequency of the teacher. And that frequency is by nature going to help draw you towards that frequency. So there's really something to be said for spending time with your teacher or guide, because that knowledge is there. It's present and inherent in their heart. They've worked hard to cultivate it, to lift it up, to clear the mind of the other impressions and things that veil the truth. And so once that realization has happened within the teacher, and they reach out and share that with the pupil, with the student or the murid, that's really it. There's a transmission that goes on. It's a deeper connectivity. So when you're in the space with the guide or with the teacher, you absorb a lot of that energy, a lot of that wisdom, and a lot of that knowledge. And a lot of the older schools, they don't even sit and do readings. They don't do teachings, things like that. You'll read a lot of great stories, Sufi stories about people in their guide and the experience with their guide. And a lot of times they don't speak at all. I know there in particular, there's a really great book called Daughter of Fire by a woman named Irina Tweedy. And she had a Sufi master that she studied with named Baisab. And Baisab was different. He was very cold and harsh in a lot of ways. But he had a warmth within him that was given out. And the cold exterior was a front, but the inner warmth, if you were able to get past the cold exterior, you could really tap into that. But it wasn't something that in the book, Daughter of Fire, she talks about how she would show up day after day at the master's house, and they would sit there and he would talk to these drunks and, supposed idiots and different things about politics and all these other things that had nothing to do with spiritual life at all. And she'd get super frustrated, like, why am I sitting here, in the presence of this person when they're not teaching me or giving me anything that I'm asking for, but they're wasting all their time on these people. And she would ask questions about spiritual life and get no answer, no response, a cold shoulder kind of thing. But over time, it broke down the hardness in her. It broke down the need for a verbal expression of the truth, and she was able to really connect with that inner guidance that was within her, that she tapped into through her guide, sending it internally to her. So beautiful way of teaching and understanding. But this really is the truth, that the teacher, however great, they can't give you the knowledge. They can share the knowledge, they can express the knowledge, they can be a beacon of the knowledge, they can be an example, and they can be at that higher frequency. And that's truly what it is. When the student has to create their own knowledge, what it means is you have to attune to that frequency as well. You can't stay where you're at and expect to vibrate at this higher frequency if you're not trying to raise your vibration up to that. And it truly is that. Your understanding, your spiritual understanding, really is a vibrational shift. And I've talked about this before, but resonant frequency, if you hit a guitar string over on this side of the room, an E string, and then eventually another guitar over here, is the E string is going to start to vibrate as well, because it's that sympathetic resonance within the air that connects and causes that vibration to happen. So it's the same thing when you're sitting with a teacher or guide. When you're in the presence of the guide, they're giving off a energy, they're giving off a frequency, they're raising the vibration of the space. And if you can get out of your lower vibration and you can tap into that higher vibration that's present in the space, then you can absorb that and you can imbibe that and you can raise your own vibration to that higher frequency. And that's what it's all about, my friends. It's all about raising that frequency, raising your vibration, and raising your consciousness to understand that we are much more than this little flesh bag that we think we are. We are spirit. We are so much more, so much more. And this is really, I think, what the teacher and the guide is for. So again, much thanks to my guide, Tasneem, all of my mentors over the years that have given me so much grace and have transmitted so much of that higher frequency vibration to me. I'm trying my best to stand and resonate in it, and I hope I do you all proud. So thank you very much. And for those of you out there who are seeking and looking, feel free to ask questions. Feel free to send a message, to put something down in the chat and say, I'm kind of interested in this student-teacher relationship, this Murshid Murid, as they call it in Sufism, the Persian words for teacher and student, Murshid and Murid. So anyone that's interested in this kind of stuff, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to express. I love sharing this stuff. I love speaking about it. It's enhanced and changed my life in so many ways that I am so happy and so dedicated to sharing it with others. So if you have more of an interest in learning more about this stuff, please feel free to reach out. I can guide you and direct you towards some different resources and things, and see where we go. All right. Thank you, my friends. Have a beautiful day. I hope that everybody has a great one today. Be safe out there. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. If you're on one of the other platforms, I appreciate you checking it out. Just if you would, share it with a friend, tell somebody else about it so we can expand this and get more people tuned in, right? Tuned in so we can all tune up and be at our highest vibrational frequency. So thank you, friends. Have a great day. Blessings.